So thank you for being here in such a great number. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and see us. Thank you for those of you who use our projects, our open source projects, and particularly to those of you who contribute to our open source projects. Thank you, you're making all this possible, and we are stronger in our industry when we're working together, and that's what we're here about in our foundation. I want to say thank you to our team, our Academy Software Foundation team. Yes? Small team, but a mighty team with Emily Olin, who will be your MC today and is going to introduce a lot of the speakers, but she's taking care of the whole of marketing and PR with John Murtick. All of you who work with our project, you know John. He's our pillar of strength when it comes to support the project. He knows a lot, and what he doesn't know, he can go get the information at the Linux Foundation, the larger organization that provides a lot of resources. Deb Gilles and Molly Sanchez are here for the event team. They're helping us putting that together. And Michelle Roth and Jadi are also helping us. Our sponsors, we want to thank very much Autodesk for the t-shirts and the lanyards, HP and NVIDIA for the beers of a feather. We did not have lunch in previous years. You needed to go get lunch on your own. This year we do have lunch thanks to AWS, Amazon Web Services. The breaks are provided by Epic Games, Unreal Engine, and the Wi-Fi by the Foundry. Thank you very much for their support. In the next 22 minutes, we're going to do our State of the Foundation with we have an invited speaker, Meredith Shea from the Academy Software Foundation. With one of our biggest announcements that we have at the show is the transfer of the Academy color encoding system, ASWF, from the Academy of Motion Picture Art and Science to our foundation. It's a big deal, it's a good deal, it's going to be great for the project, and Meredith is going to cover that and some other things related to the Academy itself. I want to remind everybody that Open Source Days started last week, actually, and we had a number of Zoom presentation and updates from our projects. So this is covering the basic. Each project did their annual review, if you want, and this is all recorded on our YouTube channel. They were really good quality presentation this year, better than ever, and there's a lot of information that's already there and recorded for you to go see about our project. Our program today is incredible. We have 3 keynotes about Flow, about Leica, about ASWF that are going to take place all throughout with all these other great presentations that are on the agenda. And tomorrow, there's the Birds of a Feather for all of our projects as part of SIGGRAPH, but they will take place in this room that you can come and see. So we invite you to say that. I want to say a few words about the news that we have here. So maybe the biggest news of the year in our open source world in motion picture since we last saw each other last year or even at the Open Source Forum in February is Flow. The movie Flow is an independent film directed by Jinzil Balodis, and it's the first Academy Award winner for animated feature film that was made entirely with open source technology, Blender. They use Blender to do the movie, and that has to be saluted. And we have Martin and Konstantin from the Flow team that will give us a presentation just once we're done here. And so Flow used Blender, and Blender is supporting many of our Academy Software Foundation, including other open source projects as well. We have new members to announce. So Leica Studios has joined the Academy Software Foundation. Yes. Thank you, Jeff Stringer, CTO of Leica, for joining us. Leica is a studio that is unique in the way that it uses filmmakings and uses the art of stop motion that is 100 years old and blends that with leading-edge digital technology. We're really looking forward to have you at the foundation and to the contribution that you will make. I also want to announce that we have Skydance Animation that joined the foundation. Skydance. Greg Brenton, Executive Vice President of Technology at Skydance Animation. Thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us. We're really looking forward to do things, and respect to Skydance for the big investment that they're doing in the motion picture and media business. We really appreciate that. Investments are really good. So welcome, Skydance Animation. Really cool. So Leica and Skydance are joining our membership, the companies that are members of our foundation. We now have 40 companies in 3 categories: Premier, General, and Associates. All of them play a very important role into supporting all that we do. Our foundation has, over the years, since we got started in 2018, after an investigation at the Academy, we've gone through a lot of members joining us and the project joining us, and all of that gets us to a point where membership matters a lot. Company memberships in our foundation, they bring us the resource to do what we do, supporting our projects. And we do a lot of things. We do project infrastructure, project marketing, project support, events, legal assistance, standard facilitation, training and education, open source evangelism, and a lot more. And that is what is needed to have a vibrant open source community. So as you go to SIGGRAPH and we look at all the companies that are contributing to them, if you work at a company that is supporting the foundation, that is a member, please take the time, at least once a year, to thank your manager for the membership. And if you work at a company that is not a member of the Academy Software Foundation, also take the opportunity once in a while to ask if your manager, if they thought about joining the foundation for supporting the work that we do. If you use any of our project, we're glad that you're doing it. They're open and they're free, but the development of software is not free, and at the foundation, we're counting on your corporate support for helping us moving forward. Lots of the service we offer include some data. So in this case, we're tracking, for instance, the active contributors for key projects over time. These active contributors, they go up and down, and it changes as it goes. It's okay, because projects will go into phase of activity and they will stop, but this data is very important to be able to look at the evolution of your project, and it comes with the service that are offered by the Linux Foundation at the Academy Software Foundation. We track our contributor growth. This is contributors across all projects going back to 2015, before even we were founded. We're able to track all of that going forward, and the trend in growth is consistent and it is moving up, so we're very happy with that. But when we talk about membership, we talk about companies and all, but really it's the people at those companies that make a difference. These are the governing board representatives from the companies, the premier members. They are my boss collectively. They tell me what to do. It's a great board, all people that are very smart and very focused and are leading our industry in so many ways, and they're here to help us with our open source foundation. They're backed by alternates that can replace them if they cannot make a meeting or another of the board meeting. And our technical advisory council is the heart and mind of the foundation. This is where all the projects report to. And these are the people who make the decision, the technical decision about the projects and where they go next, and review all that is to be done. These are our projects as of today. We have 18 projects in the foundation. This represents our structure. And so we are growing fast, and we're ready to grow more because our creed is that open source is the best path to collaborative development. And collaborative development, it's always a good thing to do, but it's even more important when times are changing, which is the case right now in technology and in software technology with the advance of artificial intelligence, machine learning. There's a lot in the mind of people who write software and people who are in charge of technology for studios, because there are these big software investment and these big pipelines that exist today that do produce the movies that we see in the theater. And then there's these new technologies coming in that have a lot of potential and that needs to be explored to what they can bring to the technology stack. And in that context, you have to make decisions about your investment, where you're going to develop. And it's the right time in these times of transition to look at how, for some of the code, we can open source it and work together on it, as opposed to having code in different places replicated, and on the efficiency side. And on the new kid on the block side, AI, a large percentage, between 50 and 80% of the software stack for most machine learning models is open source. So there's open source on both sides of the equation for innovation and for taking care of existing software investment. So that said, we have more news that we want to share with an eye on time. We are announcing here publicly for the first time the Machine Learning Working Group that was created following our open source forum that took place in February, where we discussed new technologies impacting studios. And shortly thereafter, it was decided to create this Machine Learning Working Group that is there to help to provide a place for the technologists in our industry to discuss machine learning and do what's best for the artists and for the studios in our industry. There's already 2 projects that came out of the Machine Learning Working Group that are also announced today: the Daily Notes Assistant and the Rongotai Model Train Club. The DNA project is about writing a library for doing to transcribe Daly's meeting, and the RMTC is a framework that is there to, when you have a large studio, to help manage the various machine learning instances that you may have into your studio, and to manage them properly, including the content and the data with provenance. And so these 2 projects are being kicked off already. We can keep an eye on that on the Machine Learning Working Group. The Machine Learning Working Group joins 4 other working groups that we have currently: the Continuous Integration, the CI Working Group, the Diversity and Inclusion Working Group, the USD Working Group, and the Zero Trust Working Group. Each one do their specific work: infrastructure for CI infrastructure, USD Working Group for the support of USD activities in the film and motion picture business, our Diversity and Inclusion Working Group doing a lot of work across projects and advising our foundation about a number of diversity and inclusion issues, plus also having started the summer learning program and the Dev Days conference that we're going to talk about a little bit later, and the Zero Trust Working Group about security that just get started very recently. I want to say a few words about Dev Days. We have started the Dev Days conference a few years ago. The next iteration of Dev Days is September 25th, 2025, coming up soon. You can register by grabbing that QR code. And Dev Days, we marketed it or presented it as a hackathon or a conference where you can come in if you're looking to do your first contribution to one of our projects. And that's still true. If you have not contributed to our projects and you are looking at how to do it, it's a good time to do that on Dev Days. But also, we want to also state that Dev Days is good for the experienced engineers who have some projects that they wanted to do, to write some code for some of our projects. Dev Days is also a great time to put in your calendar and to block the day to come and do work that you would like to do in some of our projects. So it's open to all engineers, not just the first-timers, to do and come and work on our projects. Also, if you have not grabbed the QR code, you can also talk to Olga. Olga is wearing the Dev Days button, and a number of folks in the room here have the Dev Days button on them. So if you see someone with the Dev Days button, and when you see Olga, feel free to talk with her about how to join Dev Days. And I want to conclude my State of the Foundation by going back to our original creed about why we're here, providing the neutral forum for open source software developer in the motion picture industry. We were created in a collaboration by the Academy of Motion Picture Art and Science and the Linux Foundation. And with that, I would like to introduce Meredith Shea, who is the Chief Membership Impact and Industry Officer at the Academy of Motion Picture Art and Science, to come and say a few words about ACES.
Thank Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I am Meredith Shea. I serve as the Academy's Chief Membership, Impact, and Industry Officer. And on behalf of Academy CEO and our newly elected president, Lynette Howell-Taylor, I want to thank all of you here in person and those of you joining us virtually for being a part of today's discussion. We are so grateful to the Linux Foundation and the Academy Software Foundation for their continued partnership with our ACES project. We announced 3 days ago that we will be transferring the project over to the Software Foundation for its next iteration. We are thrilled that it's in the hands of this gorgeous community to keep this work going. We know the importance of open source software. This keeps the filmmaking process accessible, and it makes it possible for you all to do this work. So here is the grand reveal of our new ASUS logo, and we're going to continue with ASUS Central and all of our projects related to ASUS, and I just want to thank all of you for your contributions over the years that made ASUS the incredible project that it is. I wanted to take a moment to just thank and recognize our science and technology leaders at the Academy. We have our Science and Technology Council, which is chaired by Governor Annie Chang, and our vice chair is Rob Brado, who you all very well know. They service all of the science and technology work across the Academy. We were able to launch the first ever member survey related to AI. And in the upcoming year, we're going to be providing member education and resources as it's a rapidly changing landscape at the moment. So we're thrilled to have the council supporting this work. And we also have here with us Darren Grant and Rachel Rose, who are the co-chairs of our Science and Technology Awards. I'm sure many of you know the Academy for our and Sciences work. We are so much more than one night a year where we hand out statues. The Academy is a global community that represents every facet of filmmaking. So we have 19 branches and 2 categories that serve everything from development all the way to distribution. And something that's happening within the Academy as a 98-year-old institution is all of our branches are working in technology, whether it's actors working in motion capture or if it's writers that are working with new technology to get their scripts out into the world. It's important that we convene our members around these timely topics, and it's really a privilege to lead this work and make sure that we're bringing the industry together around these issues. We've been around since 1927, so the Academy's been there for the advent of sound. We were there when the studio system broke down, when television came in, home VHS, we've been there for all of it, and I think this next transition that we're going through with AI and distribution models, the Academy will be here for the future. So it's really, again, a privilege to be a part of this work. I also wanted to just talk a little bit about the work that we do with digital preservation. The Academy represents preserving film history. We have our Digital Preservation Forum where we collaborate with different studios and companies about how we can preserve the work of the artists that are making movies. So you can go and watch all of our discussions with filmmakers and how they preserve their work. Our most recent one was produced with Carlos Lopez Estrada from the Directors Branch, and he talks about the importance of preserving his work. Next up, I wanted to share more information about the Academy Museum in Los Angeles. It will be celebrating its 4th birthday in September, even though it feels like it's been with us for so long. This is a place for the public to come together and learn about the filmmaking process. We produce year-round programming dedicated to all aspects of filmmaking, and we're committed to showcasing the work of science and technology. We have dedicated members who have been working on projects for years. They've donated different technologies and their works to us to preserve. This image up here was an event that we hosted last spring about the Dijkstraflex, and I have to say it was a historic moment to have the creators of the Dijkstrafleck come and talk to the public on the weekend. It was a packed house, and it really was able to show the behind the scenes of how movies are made. This is educating the public and inspiring the next generation. We also have an education studio that is located in the museum where we do curated, I would say up to 30 people can come and learn about the behind-the-scenes process of filmmaking. Here we have former Governor Paul Debevec talking about sodium vapor. I have to say that we had some very interesting children that day that were very excited to learn about Mary Poppins and how all of that works. So I encourage all of you to look at what the Academy Museum is producing year-round. We have tremendous screening series as well as educational work, so please join us in Los Angeles the next time you're in town. Next up, we have our Gold Rising program. This is our commitment to the next generation of filmmakers. It is the Academy's responsibility to let people know that there are jobs outside of acting, writing, and directing. There are other careers on film sets. I know everyone knows that. We did take our Gold Rising interns this year to COSM, and they got a behind-the-scenes look at different career opportunities in science and technology. So I'm grateful to our members, Barbara Ford Grant and Annie Chang, that talked about how you don't just have to be in front of the camera or bossing people around on set. You can find different jobs in entertainment. And I wanted to take a moment to just highlight our Science and Technology Awards. Again, we're so much more than just the Oscars. This is a formal event that we host at the Academy Museum annually, recognizing the technologies that make films happen. And this past year, we gave a special Oscar to all of the individuals who worked on captioning technology. And for this audience specifically, this is probably the original open source software. There's no original creator of captioning. It goes back to silent films, and there was a deaf actor who, back in the 30s, he added a second screen for ASL so viewers could learn and understand what was happening on screen. So I do a call to this room. I think the work that you're all doing is vital to making films accessible, whether that be through captioning or audio descriptions. And it takes all of you to support those technologies, and we can make it available to independent filmmakers who may not have the resources to get that done. So I just wanted to take a moment and have that plea out to the group that open source software helps so many people across disciplines, whether it be animation, documentary, experimental, or live action storytelling. And in conclusion, I wanted to just start where it all began. Here's an image from 2018 when we launched the Academy Software Foundation in our boardroom on Wilshire. And I just wanted to turn the tables a little bit and say to David and the Software Foundation that the Academy thanks you. I think everybody always thanks us, but we'd like to thank you for really supporting the sciences in our work. And I invite you back up on stage to introduce our very special guests, some Oscar-winning filmmakers. But thank you all for having me. This is my first time at SIGGRAPH, and you've been a great room, so thank you.